Right. So, like we said, 343, the coalition, and Bethesda all reported to have faced layoffs. But we seem to have gotten the most information about the 343 side of things out of this news as of right now. So, according to Jason Schreier, 343 Industries has been hit pretty hard. And the campaign team appears to have suffered the most. So, Joseph Staten, who came to 343 after he left Xbox Publishing, came to 343 to help get Halo Infinite out the door and released and done. He's leaving 343 and going back to Xbox Publishing. 343 Industries studio head Pierre Hintz, or Heinz, not sure how you pronounce his last name, who he came into the position last year after the whole studio was doing their restructuring and all like that. He sent an email to staff stating that the company had, quote, made the difficult decision to restructure elements of our team, which means some roles are being eliminated, end quote. And he also added in that the multiplayer and live service elements of Halo Infinite will continue to be supported. So then that same day, or I think the next day, there were rumors that appeared on, it was on Twitter, but then it spread to Reset Era where someone translated this because it was in French. These rumors appeared stating that 343 was canceling future development of campaign DLC, and that due to the result of Infinite's costly development and disappointing post-launch life, the studio was going to be shifted to more of a coordinator position on the Halo franchise, while other studios made new games in the franchise. That was then like kind of sort of debunked a bit by Jez Corden from Windows Central and Jason Schreier, who they confirmed that information regarding an increased focus on multiplayer, but they denied the rest. They said the rest like is either false or seems like speculation at best. So it's different. I guess it's tough to like say, all right, what's true, what's false here, and how to like really go about
Yeah.
looking at the future of Halo. But right now, honestly, I've never been more nervous about the future of Halo, and specifically Halo Infinite, than right now. Like I enjoyed Halo Infinite when it came out. I thought it was a great game. You and I had a whole spoiler discussion talking about the campaign, talking about the multiplayer, and like I enjoyed the campaign. I thought it was great, set up great potential for the future. I thought multiplayer was really solid as well, had great potential for the future once they just ironed out whatever issues they had when it came to the live service side of things. I wanted to see more campaign stuff. This Infinite was supposed to be a platform for Halo for the next 10 years. That's what it was supposed to be. And now it's like Halo Infinite was like, it was just struggling trying to stay afloat with the multiplayer live service side of things. Forge came out finally, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of sort of turning a bend, but they canceled the split screen co-op and all like that. Like it has such a rocky road that you were just looking for, okay, where's the light at the end of the tunnel for Halo Infinite? Where are we gonna see? Okay, things are back on track. We see campaign stuff is coming down the pipeline sometime soon. Good substantial multiplayer stuff is coming at a good steady cadence and all. And now I'm just like, man, I don't even know. Like, I haven't played Halo Infinite in a hot minute just because I haven't just had a desire to because of just the lack of content that was there from the last time I played. And now I'm sitting here like, I don't know if I'm gonna go back unless I just get a random itch to play Halo for a night or two. Like I don't see myself going back anytime soon. I really don't know like what's gonna happen with Halo. I can easily see 343 being shifted to that coordinator position. Like that was a rumor or speculation, whatever the case may be, fan made, whatever. Like if that was something that happened, I could see it happening. And
Yeah.
it would be a shame if it did, because I think 343 has brought some good things to Halo. They have the gameplay down pat. They have gameplay is solid. They've done interesting, cool things with the story. I've liked what they've done with the story. Halo 5 notwithstanding. Halo 5 story was bad. Um, but it would suck to see them just like said, you know what, you guys were supposed to be the stewards of the franchise. You guys have fumbled the bag so much that you're just going to be put on the side to keep multiplayer going and just make sure that everyone else respects the rules of the universe while we let other people carry the franchise on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love Infinite, and I wasn't laughing at the 10-year thing because I dislike it. It's just like God. Nothing means anything, guys. Don't ever get like hold any promises to anything. This is all dumb, and they'll
Yeah.
change their mind whenever they want. I think 343 has like ultimately going to be a complicated legacy with Halo when it's all said and done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think they were close to riding the ship with Infinite.
Yeah.
And live service is just a different beast, I think, and I don't think they were prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever, say like, oh, you should have been whatever. Like, I think they're good at single player.
Yeah.
And it's
Definitely.
not that the multiplayer is necessarily bad. It's just that consistent drip feed of content and everything that a live service game warrants, as we were just talking about with everything pertaining to the other games. But this just being strictly multiplayer. I I think just sidelining them from Halo would be unfair, but
Yes, I
maybe
agree.
give them single player and give another studio, you know, uh, multiplayer or something, arrange something like that. I think Microsoft, I don't think Infinite's tarnished the name of Halo. I think as much as people want to say, like, oh, I think maybe it's tarnished Halo multiplayer. There still is a single player component to Halo and that legacy. And I think pivoting again would be a worse look
Mm-hmm.
than I think this is a situation where you just allocate more resources, give 343 what they need, even though it seems like they're going in the other direction.
Right. Like you you give the oversight needed to kind of make sure that things are on track where they need to go, but then you also step back and don't interfere. You don't get in their way of letting them make the game the way it needs to be, make the game that they want to make. Because there was a dev on Twitter who was a former Halo Infinite, I think, multiplayer dev over there, who he tweeted out like after the story broke. He was like, yeah, like I'm paraphrasing here, but saying like, yeah, like the layoffs suck, they never should have happened, like it's due to the like Halo Infinite's development was rough, and it was all due to the incompetence of the higher ups over there. He didn't say at which company, whether it be Microsoft or 343, but just like due to the incompetence of higher ups, like that's what led to Halo Infinite being in the state that it is right now. Like there are so many good people at 343 that love the game, that love the series, that want to make it what it should be, but because of all these terrible decisions, it just hasn't been able to get there. And like I worry that like if Halo was to do another pivot, or if Halo does take more years to get to a place where it's supposed to be, say like 2 years from now, right? And it's another 2 years before it gets to where it needs to be. Like at that point, outside of the Halo diehards, right? Are people really going to care that much about Halo like they were going into Infinite? Because like there's been that song and dance of this is going to be the time. Halo's back. Halo's back. People said it with Halo 4. They said it with Halo 5 to an extent. They said it with Infinite. Halo's back. Halo's back. And then each time, for one reason or another, that didn't end up panning out to be entirely true. And this was supposed to be the time. And I feel like, as an outsider of the Halo community looking in, it seems like, you know, third time was supposed to be the charm. We struck out in one way or another three times in a row. Like, how much faith is there that people are gonna have to be like, yeah, we're still there. We're here for
If
you next time. You know?
I'll say this, it's funny that you asked the question, but because I was debating just saying it, I was like, fuck it, I'll just say it. This is my role on this show, anyways, is to just say crazy things. I don't think people give a shit about Halo if you pivot again. I don't. I think the general public, I think, of course, like you said, the diehards will be there. But I think this is, and I was thinking about this a little bit too. I think this is an unfortunate situation where Microsoft's interests as far as Game Pass go at odds with Halo, because I think Halo Infinite would have sold well if it had to have just been a straight up like people buy the game. But I think it being Game Pass, we all subbed. I think a lot of people enjoyed the single player. I do think for single player purposes, Halo was back. I think it's a very good game. Obviously we talked about it in the review, but I think of it as probably like my second favorite Halo game behind 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it could have sold well there, and it would have run its course in the more traditional way did a multiplayer game would, all of Modern Warfare 2 or any of the Call of Duties outside of, Warzone, which is its own separate thing. And then I think like Game Pass, I think Microsoft had these grand plans of, again, square peg, round hole, trying to be like, this is what Halo is going to be. And I think if it wasn't organic, like, I don't know, maybe someone on 343 will come out and say, we always wanted to do a live service, but that kind of just feels like it'd be lip service at this point, because it just doesn't seem like they were well equipped to do it. It just doesn't, if they're not well equipped, if it's not going well, I think you kind of have to read that as like, yeah, maybe they just like making regular Halo games, regular multiplayer games. And because of this square peg round hole situation, it just didn't work out the way they wanted it to, or, the way they were ill equipped to do. And it's like, but they're good at making like Halo Infinite ruled. It was a good single player. The multiplayer is fun. It's just nowadays, if it's not a live service, a lot of people are just going to play it, maybe binge it. I think I played like good 20, 30 hours multiplayer, but then eventually you're like, I'm kind of tired of this and I'll exit out.
You see, real quick, I think that it's not, I don't know if I'd say it's a case of 343 and live service being square peg round hole. I think like I think they're a team that could do it, but they just weren't prepared for it. They weren't given the time that they needed to be able to do it right. So it's more of a case in my head of square peg, except you're missing an eye, so you don't have the depth perception and you're having trouble getting it into the square hole. You know what I mean?
To be clear, I think Halo in general might be square peg round hole with live service.
Yeah, I think it is too. It just totally makes sense. Just like, all the rumors and reports of a battle royale mode happening for it at some point. Like,
but it just
yes,
never
totally
made sense for
like
Halo.
It totally what's the thing. I think a battle royale makes perfect sense for Halo. Just it did not need to happen at launch. It didn't need to happen at launch. Launch Halo needed to have multiplayer, everything be solid to show Halo was back. Then it needed to be a thing of, okay, fix the issues with the multiplayer live service side of things before we get the battle royale out. And 343 is not doing the battle royale. It's rumored that, or reported that, Certain Affinity is making the battle royale side of things. So when that comes out, maybe that'll be another grand return for Halo Infinite. But like, Halo and battle royale makes sense. Halo and live service for the multiplayer side of things, it makes sense as long as you are able to do it properly, as long as you have it planned out properly, as long as you're given the time to make it work properly. So on day one, it's all functional, it all makes sense. It's not like, well, this is a grind, this sucks, this is the stuff isn't coming in a good amount of time, seasons are half a year long, like what's going on here? So they just needed that extra time. They didn't get it. They just weren't prepared.
It is ironic that Bungie left and made Destiny, and now Microsoft is so clearly trying to turn Halo into fucking Destiny.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, Bungie had their own issues with Destiny, and they've, not to say that they don't still have issues with Destiny to this day. I'm sure they do, but like, they've turned a giant corner on the issues with Destiny and how successful they've been, and and so on and so forth, and all the problems and everything. So it is funny thinking about that. Like, Bungie left and they had issues and they fixed them. And 343 came in and they've managed to fix issues and then have more, and then fix issues and then have new ones over and over and over again. That's why I'm just wondering, like, man, I have no idea what happens next for Halo. What happens next for Halo? What happens next for 343? Because I mean, like, who's to say that they're not going to face more layoffs in the future, going down the pipeline of Microsoft's 10,000? It's an interesting problem here.
Yeah, but bummer news all around. We'll see what happens.